What's going on, traders? It's your boy Spark from Spark and Trade, and we had a pretty decent day today in the market. Shout out to all my gamblers that played non-farm payroll. I know that was really exciting. I actually got burned by that move, totally forgetting about it, and thank God for my stops. I took it with two MMQs before the trade actually happened. And I was up nice on the trade. It just didn't go to target. And then all of a sudden I heard alerts going off, and boom, I was like pretty much out of the trade. Not a bad stop, so it didn't even bother me emotionally. And what I did was actively decided to play it, but only at a key level. So we'll get into all of the types of trades that I took today. But I think more or less just focusing on the why. So we'll take a look at the back rows and start off with the daily. So right now, Ray Charles can see we are in a downtrend, right? Yep. We are in a downtrend. You guys know the routine. I'm looking for supply and demand levels that I can potentially draw out on this time frame. We have none. So something is bringing this market down, and we'll find that somewhere. But I was hoping that we hit 17,326. The market has fallen off so drastically since then. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4 days. Even if you swung yesterday, you would have gotten a little bit of a down move before non-farm came in. Kind of probably would have paid you a little bit more, and then got nuked right before the opening bell. So no supplier demand levels here. Of course I can look left and see them, but these are just 4-hour levels. If you look to the right here, just 4-hour levels that we have. But one thing that I would do is this red zone here, I marked it with a red circle, so I know that that's the daily money zone, right? We ever make it back up there, you should see some strong selling pressure, which it looks like we might do because this is a doji close. So that's a good sign that we might start turning around, something like this. Hopefully this doesn't turn red, meaning the candles. So let's take a look at the 4-hour. See what we drew from the 4-hour. So the 4-hour, we did have a level right here. Okay, 16.5 to 1. Yeah, 16.521. What I wanted to do the other day was swing price from lows to highs, but didn't get it. Not a big deal. However, I got put up in this kind of downward trend, or maybe something over here. I'm not even sure where, but today when I woke up, we still are caught in this downwards kind of price action. But once I marked that level, and I think I marked it yesterday, it's time to now go into the micros and start figuring out more or less where the supply and demands are for the given day. So we knew that this level was here since yesterday, Thursday, at the open. I think around 9 o'clock, somewhere around here. We had a nice pop into that and a sell-off for the rest of the day. I believe that was the move. Yeah, 9 o'clock, pop, sell-off for the rest of the day. All right, cool. So why did we fail here? Well, this is where demand was at, and you got a strong wick indicating that more selling pressure was coming. We got back into the money zone, and we went down, tested it again, came down, and by the close, the party was over. So throughout the night, EU and Asian market brought us down some more. We wake up to this, right? I see a purple candle. I'm like, okay, cool. Let me take longs at around 8 o'clock. And then non-farm came and hit me with the right? And that was all right. But anyways, so we marked out this level. We understood that by these, I'm using these highlighted kind of square boxes or rectangles so that I don't cloud the chart with a whole bunch of horizontal gray lines. But that's mainly because it becomes a little bit too much after a while. So once we did that on the 1 hour, we knew what levels to potentially bounce up to, right? We would of course have to take out a lot of these 4-hour levels, but and we would have to at least take out the money zone too. So this was happening during this rejection and then rally. So we'll see that on the 30-minute. we had this supply line and then this demand line. Well, this supply line formed afterwards, but we definitely had this demand line. And again, this is now 9 o'clock, 8:30. This is your non-farm payroll 30-minute candle. And then we started having that wick off, right? So I always think that this entire price action right here, underneath this demand that somehow caused that, even though we sold off, this is a retest, a fail, follow through, right? It failed to follow through, and then it broke. Now that break has a retest, and then you have more. I think all of this right here, and I mean, you can see this over and over, but sometimes it fails. All of this right here could be considered, to me, a kind of stop hunt, or a stop hunt move. Remember we talked about only 5 things can happen at these levels. If you look at my other video, you'll see that. Maybe I'll make one specifically for that. Here is where it fails. Demand came in, we had a reaction, came back down, fell through. We have a supply line up there, so this one kind of makes sense. And then we just kind of started dripping down. We're in a downward market, so a lot of these are breaking. Like they're just not really causing a stop hunt kind of scenario. So kind of want to show you one though. So right here, we fall below, kind of stop hunt anyone that tried to play this level before that, and then all of a sudden it takes off. So like I think that there's evidence to think about whether or not we're in an uptrend or a downtrend, and then that thing may or may not work. But I'm not going through all of that. I'm either going to be wrong or right based off of an entry and a very, 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 very tight stop just in case I am wrong. Like I'm not about to let you take me for a ride all the way up here just to be right 2 days later. It's just, I'm done. The account is blown. So, probably take some entries here. This takes me out. Move on. Probably switch sides to catch some of the up move. So yeah, what's going on with this? This is what I'm thinking in the morning. We might make a move back up here because this wick looks strong. We might make a move and at least hits 1644.1. So this becomes a target now, right? And this is 9 o'clock. So let's see what happened on a smaller time frame, but just pay attention to the fact that this is a line and there goes your gray box, all right? And then this one came later, but and then on the 15-minute, we had that same area, right? 443. So we have that same area that we want to target. By now, it's about, I'm long actually from down here, and I got out somewhere around here because I saw that this could have been a threat to me. And I was basically making back what I lost on that move to the downside during that non-farm kind of data. So we have nothing but bullish momentum, right? Going up. All right, cool. Are we going to take it out or are we going to have this? I don't know. Don't really care. That's a target. So we end up taking this out, and now it's 9:15. This is your 9:30 candle. So everything from this moment forward, you have to think like, well, what kind of moves can we make? Well, here's a demand, and then we shoot up. We broke, came back, retested, shoot up. Here's another demand. We broke, retested, shoot up. Here's another demand. We shoot up. I'm not thinking that we're going to fall back through demand. I'm thinking, okay, maybe we'll go up. So as soon as the market opens, now we're going into the nitty gritty of like the smaller time frames. But now you can see why like my mind is thinking we could have a bull rally. I may not want to go short, at least not until we see a significant bounce to the upside. All right, so like let's now get into the actual day trading side of things. Demand down here, this is what we probably took before the market opened. We get to this candle here. We know that there's demand here, right, from the 15-minute and 30-minute. So market starts to shoot up. I'm starting to use this tick chart to really kind of determine whether or not I want to continue to go with the bulls or continue to go with the shorts. So we have a trend flip. We have a kind of flag consolidation here, and then this snap happens. Now, I don't think I took any of this, right? I didn't take any of this. I literally made enough money pre-market that I was like, I don't really want to touch this. Now, I got interested in a possible short when I saw this price action on the tick chart flip to this. When I saw this red one, I said, all right, looks like the shorts could be rolling in. What supported that was this divergence. We have a high, a lower high, a lower high, a lower high, but we're making higher highs on the price action up top. So it's just a matter of time before that catches up with this, right? Like where the price catches up, and that's a bearish divergence, where price catches up with the bearish sentiment that's apparently going on. So like, I don't know why price was moving up even right here per se, but we did have a pullback where they, I guess, started hitting the bid. We had another rally back up, and then boom, they started hitting the bid like crazy. We had that big fall, and it triggered everything. I got into shorts somewhere right here, get stopped out by this candle. Got into shorts again when I saw the wick, and I'm like, oh my God, this thing is going to continue to rally. So I get out thinking that this supply turned into demand. But my stop should have been where it was. Like I had it a little bit above this wick candle. The wick comes in again. I mean, I stopped myself out, right? Like stop myself out. Very small paper cuts up here because I don't know when the pivot is going to come. So I only take like very light position until I'm like, oh, this looks like it's going to happen. And I stop myself out and I get into longs on a pullback. I see the longs struggling and I'm like, this isn't going to work. So then kaboom, they stopped me out. I moved the stop to like right here, so I didn't have to like deal with a break of this line because I knew that that could be the camel's back, the straw that breaks the camel's back. So immediately I jumped into shorts, and this time I say to myself, we're going to ride this to target. So like you can imagine that if my risk is somewhere around here, 34 points, I need to make at least 60. We go 80 something points before I start getting out of this trade. This had me a little nervous, but I started saying, you know, they flipped the trend. Maybe we get some more bearish pressure. And I ended up getting out somewhere down there. So I really made the 80 points there. And that's what make these paper cuts not a big deal. I think this year I'm absolutely going to try to trade like that. Like I don't care if the market bounces on me or whatever, but there's no way that I'm leaving this position when this condition down here is like this. It was this candle that said to me, get the hell out of there, because this is a pivot kind of condition in the market, or at least for the tick chart from what I understand. So we breach 1,000, the market starts to like slow down, speeds up a little bit more, and then all of a sudden you get these like bounces to the upside at demand. So I wasn't too distraught by that exit. I actually thought I did my job, you know, took the market down for what I can take it for. Now some would say, well, shit, if it didn't break this line, then maybe you should be fine. But if I put my entry or my exit at this line, this might take me out. So you know, it's funny. I mean, maybe a little bit above that just to give it some wiggle room, because this is a really strong kind of ATR that the market likes to follow. So we get this strong bounce that came in here, and I saw this come in because, again, we're making higher lows since 12 o'clock, you know, 12:35, and then 1:05, and I'm like, let me try to go for the longs. So we went long here. Actually, and we made this money, but I didn't come out, and then this money zone literally breaks me, right? Like it stops me out. So I'm like, that sucks. Then I'm like, okay, wait a minute, this looks like a stop loss hunt. So I go back in again because I'm noticing that we're making a divergence, and I'm like, it's just a matter of time before the divergence kicks in, yada yada yada. Man, this move to the upside goes postal, 70 something points, and I think my risk was maybe less than 20 points on that one. So that was a really good trade there. And then up here, I was already out. I wasn't really looking for shorts, but it looks pretty even top, right? Bulls still look strong. I'm like, this thing is going to keep going. Oh my God. And then Apple comes out with some news that collapses the market. I see this bear sentiment. Like, right? And we're pushing away from that, not really a supply line, but that's the stop line. So either this massive trader is like, let's keep going or whatever, or maybe, I don't know, maybe the news kind of caused it. But I do have a 4-hour line here that if we break through that, I'm jumping in. So when I saw this price action kind of, you know, huddle in this area, I was like, all right, I'm interested in it. So we come back up, I catch an entry, and then the market starts to go down. This was another great trade. I was probably going to risk like 25 on that one. We went down to 65. So I was like, all right, cool. Saw this pivot, got the hell out of Dodge, right? If you see these ghost lines down here or these boxes, these are macro demand and demand levels, or just levels, right, on the 15, 30 minute or the hour. In this case, this is the 15. In this case, it's the 30 minute. So I'm looking for longs down here. I just need evidence, right? So here goes another divergence. And I'm like, yo, they're fucking coming up everywhere, right? Like, maybe I could take this to the upside. I'll show you something else that I was looking at this time so you can see, like, I added, I have an extra confirmation or possible confirmation. Now, this one I missed the entry down here, and we'll look at what I was looking at to enter that. So here goes a 1 minute chart of how the price kind of behaved from up there, that divergence, this divergence, this divergence, right? And here's what I missed. So this is a 1 minute chart. Obviously, you can see purple candles. Anytime I see purple candles, I start thinking it's about to be go time. All right, I could be wrong, like right here when I was wrong. I got in, purple candles fell back into red. I'm like, okay, whatever. This thing turned green, we were in that. Purple candles, go in there. And then in the morning time, we had orange, which could mean a candle cross, purple candle into green. And anyways, at demand, I'm taking that. So we see this condition kind of come out of the bottom of the Bollinger Band, and this is where I got interested, somewhere right here. So, this circle a little bit above that. So we'll go into the tick chart. Now, I don't know if you guys ever use the tick chart, but this thing is a sniper's paradise right here, right? So if we focus on kind of this price action here, we had a demand line come in. And remember, this line is your divergence line, right? So the demand line comes in, the divergence doesn't make a lower low, and then it starts to snap up. I'm like, oh, that's a double bottom at a demand line. Now, it's a tick chart, granted. It could totally fail. I don't really care. And it might give me a lot more signals than I need. But now I'm like, oh, shoot, let me put an order to get in just in case it kind of like come back and hover, right? This thing goes above the 50 HMA and snaps up, right? Changing the tick chart to a bullish condition. Comes back after hitting supply, comes back, bounces off of the money zone, which is the green cloud. Comes back, breaks through it, kind of has a little fumbling, and this is when I said, if we break back above this, I have to gun it and put a stop below this level now. I don't need to go all the way back down to this demand or try to give the market that much room, because now I'm up pretty nicely on the day, and I'm like, you know what, let me try this last trade, because I seen it kind of coming in, and we saw it on the tick too. I'll show you that. So on the dollar sign tick. So I'm like, all right, cool. Missed this run up, man, but now I'm confident that the run up might continue. Missed this run up, missed this entry, and now I have to figure out, do I FOMO into this? No. This today was a really good day of discipline, and I think taking small contracts helped me a lot with that. I didn't have to like hyperventilate on NQ contracts. In the morning I did, but so much not so much here, and I think it was very systematic. So anyways, we have a double top, fall below the red line, right? Your 50 HMA. All right, no problem. I'm not going to wait for us to get above it anymore. I don't think that's necessary. Either this thing is going to happen or it's not going to happen. And if I take this entry for so-called confirmation, now I have to either A, deal with a pullback that might stop me out just to go back up, or B, when they do go up and come back down, now I'm dealing with, unnecessary drawdown. So my job, I think, is just, I knew I wanted to go long. I just needed reasons to go long. This demand came. I said the first candle that breaks above this, since I already missed this run up, I'm taking. So we took this, and the market shoots up, and I'm like, ooh, that worked, yada, yada, yada. And then it came down, and I just was not willing to deal with any more of a pullback. So this thing did go to R based off of my entry. So like my entry was somewhere right here. And if I'm doing a tick chart entry, that's 7 points, and it went about 24 points, and I got out somewhere around here, so 18 points. And I still would have been green, maybe majorly green, 30 points or something like that. And throughout the day, it just kind of like went to the side. And this was the end of the day, so I didn't really want to play with that 5 o'clock, that 350 kind of possible wim bam boom that it does. But you can see that these boxes, these gray boxes, are levels that we care about. You can see that on a smaller time frame, if they come up, we can draw out of play. You can see that I'm using the tick chart on any time frame really, but this is your 1 minute tick chart that told me a divergence happened where we're making higher lows and lower lows on the chart. So that's a bullish divergence. And over here, the market started like changing, right? Like it's not, the selling pressure is not going all the way down to 50 anymore or 500 anymore on the tick chart. So I like that. I like that, possible play. And I'm just looking for stuff like that, right? Like, is there a shift in sentiment? Yeah, I'll take that, especially if it's at these gray lines, these supplies and demand boxes. I'll take that. And, even if I miss it, I'm still with the play as long as this condition seems true. But, I'm kind of cautious about this. I'm kind of cautious about that because that's where the pivot starts to happen. And we never had a really crazy bullish move that hit 1,000, just got above 700. But that's enough for you to make money, 80, 70, 80 points, maybe 60 points. 40 points is a lot on NQ. So that was that, right? So we went through today's kind of experience in trades. You guys don't really have all this stuff, but at the end of the day, you mark out your levels, and if you can definitely have access to the tick chart. You don't need any kind of code for that. You can find them online. I mean, these things are like fucking open source. So we went through the macro, we went through the micro, and then I showed how we can execute this edge, right? The supply and demand levels, utilizing this tick chart. I want to quickly just take a look at this new setup that I also have over here, because I was watching a video that talked about the VOLD as the breadth indicator. Now, I don't really use these in terms of like, it helps with my idea. But basically, all I really need is this add. So this ADQD, and then this is the VOLQD. And what the volume difference between, like, I think it's showing like whether there's a lot of volume pushing the market up versus the volume pushing the market down. The add is whether stocks are advancing up or advancing down. So they're essentially the same thing, I think, personally. So I don't really need this, but it's important because there was something that I saw that triggered that up move at 1 o'clock around 122. This one here, as you guys can see, it's also at the bottom. So the charts are at the bottom, the indicators up here, and then we also have the tick chart. So as we were approaching highs and there was a shift in the tick chart, now I'm interested in those possible shorts, right? So I'm taking my swings up there, and a little bit of volume comes off the market, and then this sentiment over here is happening too, and maybe we have a divergence that we can spot, but I'm not really even like paying attention to that. Once this shift happened, I knew I messed up by not continuously trying to take shorts up here, as you can remember. And then the market starts coming down, right? Like I see this kind of condition here on the add. I see that condition here on the VOLQD. And then on the tick chart, we also have that confirmation. So we have 3 confluences telling me, and it's at supply, right? It's at supply. So we have all these confluences telling me that a possible short can roll in up here, right? So I call it out. Shorts can roll in up here. I get paper cut twice, try to go long, got burned again, went short. This whole move paid back for all those mistakes. As long as you don't oversize on those trades, I think you can always have this experience where, if I trade to target, which is always 2 to 3R, I'm gonna make that back. So when we make that back on a good trade, and that this is something that I think anyone can use, but this is the Hikanachi, as you can see, and all I want to do is see price kind of go in the direction that I'm thinking that we might go. Now, above this 3,000, the market should be really bullish, right? But what you see today is that the market been bullish. 950, let's go to 930. I think all this data in the beginning is kind of like goobly gobbly. I don't know what the hell is going on with the market, but if you chose to go short here, you got nuked. And I think kind of going long at 10 o'clock was kind of hard because that candle came in pretty quickly. But if you look at that ad, it was telling you to go long, right? If you look at the tick chart, it was probably telling you to go long around here. Okay, and then if you look at price, that was where this flag was. So you could have caught that 10 o'clock move that came in. Some would say that that's still gambling. Maybe it is. I don't know. Don't really care. But here we are at a 9:30 pop, pullback into a money zone on the 5-minute, okay? And then a demand line comes in on the tick. So once I start seeing stuff like this, I try to get in at a decent level. I'm already convinced that I want to kind of go long. Maybe I miss all of that. I get in somewhere around here, and then it's just off to the races, right? Like, I'm not willing to go back down. I'm willing to kind of like just lose the previous pivots, whatever. And then you can make this money here. If you stayed in there even longer, boom, you get this nice run up. And then you get this whole kind of consolidation, sideways price action where a divergence was formed. So, I think having the ADQD confirm that you want to go long, the VOLQD confirm that you want to go long, and having this tick scenario here, you just have to get in on a pullback on that tick. And I think the best pullback on the tick came somewhere maybe right here, okay? So you're like, oh, okay, here goes the pullback. And, it's not easy to kind of pin one of these entries, but once it starts to kind of bounce back up, you lit. If not that one, then this one back here on the tick, but that looks red on this tick. So I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing to try to jump the gun, but there is definitely an opportunity there to go long. Other than that, then the highs up here, obviously you see this supply line kind of come in, market starts to roll, and you knew that you wanted to take it up here. So it's just a matter of like, when do I get into this? When do I get into this? When do I get into this? And this supply line is like, okay, it's go time. So I think the tick is something the tick and the tick chart is something we have to utilize along with all these other breadth indicators that tells you that the market may be at a point. And now the market's at a point because of the supply and demand that comes up on a code. Okay, this then tells me that, okay, the market probably agrees with that. Now, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I'm taking my coin, so I'm putting my bet in up here or as close to the highs as possible so that when the market starts to roll, I'm not like, I can get a good R&R, but if it fails, then all right, cool, then, I get stopped out for a very small paper cut. And, some people say, well, why don't you wait for confirmation? I don't know. It's not my style. Just keep it that simple. Waiting for confirmation up there, yeah, you might get. I have a rule where I would only take about 2 to 3 swings at a level. Okay, I'm not gonna swing at that level all day and they just keep breaking highs, highs, and highs. All right, cool, you got me, guys. I'm done tapping out. Most I'm gonna lose there is with a 20-point risk. Depending on how much I sized in, it's probably like 100 to $150. But I know when I'm wrong. I feel when I'm wrong. And of course down here, we don't have to go through it again, but just look at what the ad did down here. I mean, the ADQD did down there and the VOLQD did. I mean, you saw tremendous buying pressure coming into the market. I'm like, holy moly, what the hell is that? So this was so strong that it brought it right back up into this zone here. And we almost had a bearish trend, but it just bounced at a demand line. Like, why did that happen? And then we get up here, and there's another supply line that came in up here on the 2-minute. You can see it on right here. Bingo. So we're always, this thing is always going to pick something up for you to kind of bust a play at. I don't know if I would jump the gun before that, but it's pretty accurate, I think, on the tick chart. And then down here, we caught this move back up. But we had very crazy volume coming in down there. So here was the volume for the first one. They made lower lows, stop hunted people, but then there's a divergence because this is a higher high. That's a lower low from this area to this area. I'm like, wait, what? So this thing is going to snap. Once I call that out, I missed these 2 opportunities, caught this one, and just kind of took what I could from the move since I was already late to the party. And we'll see what happens, but just wanted to show how I utilize like the ad, the VOLQD to kind of determine how to like kind of enter this market now. If we, according to S&P Capital, if we get above I think it's 30 million that I have here. 30 million or something like that. Then this thing could go crazy to the upside, right? And if we get to negative 30 million, then we can go crazy to the downside. So like we did have that crazy downside explosion right into negative 80 million. And we almost had this upside move that went crazy, right? Like we had a really strong rally there. So I think A break of the yellow above is cool. A break of the red below is kind of like not a bad idea to kind of start shorting the hell out of the market, and that came in around here. We had that big candle that ignited it. So that's that. With the VOLD, and this is really for a trend day. If we were trending up, this thing would have broke here and just continued to go crazy. But if we were trending and it was strong, you would want to see us get above this bullish line on the ad. So when I saw some stalling and some divergences, I got a little bit like, okay, this might not happen. And then the tick chart is going to show you whether or not we're going to sell off first. So tick chart, kind of the ad, and then this thing takes a while to kind of turn. But once it turns, you know that big boys are in here now. Like, this thing is not easy to turn. The VOLQD. So guys, that's all I have for you today. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. I'll try to put my new link, my new Discord link up. But yeah, please like, subscribe, and share. Your boy Sparks out. Peace.